You're listening to the AZREIA Show. If you're looking for quality real estate investing information that you can trust, you've found it. Stay tuned and join the tens of thousands of members that have already benefited from AZREIA, your home for education, market information, support, and networking opportunities that will advance your real estate investing career.
Welcome to the AZREIA Show. I'm Mike Prete, Executive Director of the Arizona Real Estate Investors Association. Today, I'm flying solo again. Marcus is out of town in Chicago, handling some real estate business. So I'm going to hold it down as host with Sabrina Smai. I always leave the last names and everything to Marcus.
Yeah. He's better at that. You're better at the first name.
Yeah, I can do my name. That's about it. So yeah, let's just jump right in. Let's get right to it. So today, if you're listening, we're going to talk about, we're just going to talk about it. How about that?
All right,
so Sabrina,
Jump
tell us who you are and just a little bit about your background and then how you got into real estate.
Yeah, so I'm originally Canadian, and I spent probably 10 years building AI systems for large tech companies. So I used to work for Microsoft. I worked with Meta, SpaceX, McDonald's. I was one of the data scientists that has done a lot of the state-of-the-art advancements in the space of AI. So I was a coder, did that for 10 years.
And you threw me off really quick. You said SpaceX, McDonald's.
Yeah,
I thought
know,
French fries really quick. So what's the correlation there?
You're like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
Well, so at the time, I was like one of 26 AI engineers in the world. So we all got flown in. And so when Fortune 500 companies had specific problems that were AI problems that they needed solved, they would go and poach somebody that had an expertise in a certain vertical of AI. And for me, it was computer vision. Anything that had to do with videos or images, they would basically hire me for the consulting and building that out. So the first ever fully robotic AI McDonald's was built by me and one other data scientist in Brazil. So that was a project that I worked on. And then SpaceX, obviously can't talk really much about it, but that was another project that I worked on. But I worked on with a lot of Fortune 500 companies to build their first AI solution for whatever problem that they were.
So where'd you go to school?
The University of Toronto.
So did school have anything to do with your career, or you just get it?
No, actually, I got into computer hacking
as
a way to pay for school, and then
wow.
I started winning competitions, and then I started building that skill set around AI because I realized if I start, hacking with AI, I was winning all the competitions. So I was getting awards by Stanford and a bunch of other.
Wait. So when you say hacking,
yes,
I'm about to put my phone in my pocket. So what do you mean by hacking?
So there's ethical hacking and non-ethical hacking. I was the ethical one.
Good. All right.
Yeah. But watch out, Mike. You mess with me.
I was like, wow, there's awards for that? Yeah. Wow, pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. So you won these awards, and you worked for some awesome companies, obviously, but we're here doing real estate right now. So why would you even leave that world? Curious.
Yeah. Funny enough, it wasn't by choice. I was living the dream, getting flown out to all these different places because of my specific skill set in AI. And then one day, one thing happened that completely changed my life, and it was a car accident.
Oh.
And one day I was on my way to work with a bunch of data scientists, and then we got T-boned. And I got a brain injury, had to relearn how to walk, had to relearn how to use my eyes. And it was during that period of time, within that first year, was the time that I realized, oh my gosh, Sabrina, I worked my whole life to get to this point, to be a high income earner when I grew up with a family that didn't, was not educated. They didn't, couldn't fend for themselves. And, I was always contributing to the family as a teenager to now, I'm living the American dream as a Canadian, and that could be taken away from me because of a disability. And so that's when I started realizing the difference between being rich and being wealthy. And so I sold all of my restricted stock units, put it into a duplex in Seattle, I lived in the smallest bedroom, rented out all the other bedrooms, and I lived for free and made $2,000. So I didn't realize I house hacked at that moment. But it was survival instincts because I was like, I didn't understand disability protections or anything like that. So I thought I was going to get fired and I was going to be deported to, back to Canada and, not have a safe place to call home. And so that's when I accidentally house hacked it again, and then kind of was like, this is pretty sweet. I'm making money, but living for free. And then I learned about BRRRR and then development, and then now, building multifamily by myself, no partners or anything like that.
Wow. So I got T-boned. So, see, I went through a similar situation. I got T-boned. I was going on 56th Street. Someone just ran a red light. Boom. I was in the hospital for 7 days.
Oh my God.
I didn't have, no family here at the time, and I was in the hospital, so no one knew where I was, so I lost my job. I was at a call center. I wasn't.
Yeah, but still, the fact that it was like, the feeling of it got taken away from me.
All gone. Yeah, so that's cool because me, I just went back to work, right? So that's cool how you had that realization, and you made it that drastic change. So you was it cold turkey? Just like, hey.
Well, I tried to kind of work as much as I could to pretend like I still have it handled. At the time it was COVID, so I was behind a screen, but people weren't realizing that when I was, because the place that I damaged my brain was the part that I was using for coding, and so every time I would exert energy, I would physically pass out or sometimes I would collapse on my chair, but no one would know that, so I was trying really hard to be like, no, I'm fine, and then after a while it caught up to me, and I couldn't fake it anymore, and so that's when I went cold turkey. But I built all this real estate while I was trying to do my passion, what I thought was my purpose.
So does real estate use a different part of the brain?
Yeah, the math is like addition, subtraction.
You kept building, but working, getting tired. Wow, good for you.
It is way different. The math is like division, subtraction, addition.
That's awesome. Wow.
We're not doing complex derivatives and loss functions and very deep math like I used to.
Wow. So you built, okay. So real quick, before we go into what you're working on and stuff, so I'm assuming you still pay attention to the field of AI at some level? Somewhat, okay.
Bit, yeah.
But because you hear the Elon Musk stuff, we're going to need universal paychecks, and in the next 5 years it's going to be such a drastic change, and real estate agents are going to be gone. And what is just your thoughts on just technology and real estate?
Yeah, I mean, I believe that I would say that I know that people are shifting where people are thinking that jobs are going to get taken away. But I'm in a belief that, instead of hiring, one person can do the job of 5 or 6 different people. And so I think just the capacity and the expectation of a person just becomes more drastic. I think I heard Dan Martell say that, hey, you have about a couple weeks to all of his employees. If you can't replace your job, 92% of your job by AI, you're getting fired.
Well, you have to go figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
So it's just it's becoming the expectation, but I don't know. I don't really. It's funny because I just feel like I kind of turned a blind eye just
fair
because I'm just like
real estate.
Real estate isn't for me.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So you said that you went to school in Toronto. You're from Canada. So is that where the real estate started?
No, the real estate started in Seattle.
Seattle.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us about that. So so you left the job. You had enough. Boom. So you had some rentals going. So what was the next play? What were you working on?
So I was basically house hacking small multifamily. So I bought a duplex, lived in one of the bedrooms, and then the next year I waited to do it conventionally again, where I bought a triplex. Then I was able to get my own basement unit, which felt amazing. But at that point, I couldn't understand, Michael, how can people buy multiple units in 1 year? I couldn't understand because I had to eat cup noodles for a year,
for sure.
and then save up and then wait for that down payment for the next one. And when I had learned about BRRRR through a mentor, I was just like, wait, you're telling me that I can just use the same startup capital, recycle it over and over again, and that's how people scale? My mind was blown, and so I started doing the BRRRR method. And then at that point, the legislation in Seattle was changing that was allowing density on smaller lots, where they were encouraging ADUs to be built. They were allowing condominiumization of ADUs so they can be sold separately. it was just like all of this stuff was happening at the same time, and I was learning it as it was evolving, and I was adapting, and I guess my real estate just kind of
Wow.
exponentially exploded.
Your first 2 projects were just
House hacks.
Just house hacks, no
Yeah.
additional.
Small multifamily.
Got it. Now, were you struggling with cash flow? Phoenix, as prices increase, we're struggling with numbers penciling out. So how was that working for you out there?
So for my first couple of deals, I bought it at the beginning of COVID. So my interest rate was like 3.6, 2.75. So cash flow there is amazing. But for my current deals, it just depends on how I structure the deal. So I would do a BRRRR on the front house. I would build out an ADU, and then sometimes I'll just sell one of the units, take the proceeds, and then pay down the debt of the other house.
Wow.
All of a sudden, I'm like cash flowing $2,000-$3,000, or that whole house is paid off.
Yep.
And so there's just so many different creative ways of cash flowing in this current market with this play.
Wow. So how many properties do you have up there now? Or
20 units. Yeah.
20 units in Seattle.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay, let's go over that. So, what is an ADU? Just for the listeners.
Yeah. An ADU is an accessory dwelling unit.
Okay.
So it's essentially when you have a primary home, that's the primary unit, and then a unit accessory to that is another home on a single-family zoned lot. So usually it's capped around 1,000 square feet. It usually has to be 10 feet away from the house, or it could be attached, detached. So if you've heard of granny flats, converted garage, mother-in-law.
What's the Arizona one?
Casitas.
There you go. You gotta get that. You gotta get that.
Yeah. So if you've heard of any of that, those are all ADUs.
Awesome. So you said 75% of homes gross floor area. So I got some random stats here. So 1,000 square foot, like you said. Setbacks and design 3 feet from side or rear property lines.
Yep.
5 feet from street sidelines. Cities with 75,000 population or more, obviously Phoenix has that.
Yep.
Must allow ADUs without excessive restrictions. Recent county updates streamline permitting for smaller projects, reducing red tape. HOAs can still impose some rules via CCNRs, but state law overrides that. So have you tried to do anything with HOAs, or you stay away?
HOAs, I stay away. That is a red flag for me.
Of course. So let's see. Context. Let's see. 2025 HB 2928 extended ADU allowances to county levels. All right. So now, are there certain rules in Phoenix that we should be aware of with ADUs?
Yeah, it's funny because what you just read is almost copied and pasted from Seattle legislation and California. And so this is just proof that they're going to soon copy and paste the next part of the evolution of ADUs, which will be the condominiumization of ADUs the same way that California did with their laws, AB 1033 and SB 9 lot splits. So it's funny because I'm like, wait, what city are you reading this from? Because it's identical.
And going back, I was telling you that our son Sabrina, the last podcast I did, we did on Path of Progress. So just like we're paying attention, like it's all legal information,
100%.
right? We have access to this information, and obviously it's the same thing going to legislation.
Yes.
I didn't bring that up. So. You know what? Years ago, I met the attorney that wrote the AAR contract in the state of Arizona, and he said he just copied it from California. So it's a good point.
Arizona is a copycat of California.
Well,
and that's a good thing because it makes it so easy to predict what plays you can do here in Arizona. Just check out what California's doing.
Yep. Well, now, not on everything.
Not on everything. No. It's just zoning. Information.
Yeah. So yes. So. All right, cool. So ADUs, because the reason I thought I heard, I didn't look it up, like if you're going to rent out, you got if you're going to do Airbnb or it's a rental or it's an investment property, you got to live in one of them? Or
yeah, so it's interesting that you say this because when I talk about the evolution of the ADU play, so this happened in Seattle where you were not able to build an ADU unless you were the primary occupant in the main house. And then they were like, wait, we're not building enough housing. Let's just remove that and just be like, hey, you can build an ADU even if you don't live in the primary home. but then they're like, but then you can't Airbnb it. Then they're like, wait, hold on, that's not really helping, people build more housing and adding density. And then they're like, wait, now you can build one attached, one detached, and that's helping more people sort of build more housing. So I don't think that Arizona, I think they're past the point of being owner occupied in order for you to build an ADU. But again, it's all city specific. Scottsdale has a very different rules than Phoenix and all the other places. And so, like I heard that Scottsdale, you can't build up to 50% of the primary home as an ADU. I could be wrong about that, but then that's not the same as Phoenix. Phoenix, you can build up to like 1,000 square feet, one attached, one detached. And then you can build all the way up to the alley line if the house is on an alley.
Oh,
so
wow.
you gain additional footprint if you're on an alley. And so there's specific
Which can be a lot of square footage.
Oh, 100%.
And a lot more value.
100%, because
Wow.
usually the rear setbacks are typically around 10 feet. So if you gain 10 foot of the ground level, footprint, you can just build a way nicer unit and a larger unit.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just to recap, so you were doing this in Seattle. You mentioned like corner lots and
Yes.
so what was the kind of the play with ADUs?
Yeah. So for ADUs, I would say that the ranking of the types of lots that you would want, the most desirable lot is a house that has a wide side lot. And what that means is that, if you're facing the street and there's a house here, you can build a house right next to it. It just feels like it's a part of the neighborhood. And that's the most desirable, I would say, the most desirable property to purchase. The second most desirable property to purchase is a property on a corner lot. Because if the house is facing 23rd Avenue, and then you can build an ADU facing, Fur Street, you know what I mean? It just feels, again, like it's part of the lot. And then the third most desirable is on an alley, because, if your house is facing 23rd Avenue and then you have another house in the back that's facing the alley, you can build all the way up to the alley, but then also they can drive into the alley and the people in the front house can drive on 23rd and So it feels private, very similar to side-by-side neighbors, except it's like a front-back.
And you're splitting the lots on these?
Yes. So in Seattle and in California, you can do a condo split, which on single-family zoned lots that are smaller, you cannot typically subdivide and you cannot divide them. But in Seattle, there's a hack to be able to do that. On single-family zoned lots, you can condominiumize them, which allows you to get two separate parcel numbers, two separate tax IDs. You can attach title to the backyard and the front yard, shooting up the value like crazy. So you can literally sell off your backyard with the ADU, take the proceeds, pay off your own home, and then all of a sudden you're living for free.
And what, I've never been to Seattle or know how it grew, but I just know like in Phoenix, it's like, everything's widespread, bigger, people have these nice lots, brick walls.
Yeah.
Like I remember East Coast, like there was no fence in between the house, right? You saw your neighbors do everything.
Zero lot line.
So now it's like, brick wall, privacy, space, alleys, right? There's all this stuff. So now it's starting to get to the point of like, I even saw some news coverage, like they're building the ADU and they could see my backyard now, or even if you have a 2-story house and you can look in someone's backyard, people don't like that. So how was that transition of the privacy and just starting to put more houses into one area? How did the city take that?
So in Seattle, we're surrounded by water, so it's not like Arizona where you can just spread out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, everybody still wants to live in Scottsdale. Everybody still wants to live in downtown Phoenix. So those areas are becoming unaffordable, but and they're encouraging density for that purpose of increasing inventory to hopefully decrease the prices of homes. And so the transition is, and that's why buying a particular lot, like a corner or an alley or a side lot, allows you to make it feel that you're not encroaching in terms of privacy and all that. Because a lot of people in Seattle are buying something called a flag lot, where you don't have any access through the back or the side, but you have to go along the side of the house to get to your ADU. People are still buying that, but the appraised value of those ADUs are so low, and it's not even sometimes worth it, because you devalue the front house so much that you're like making $100,000, you might be making 10% of your money, of your all-in cost. Is just not worth it. And so that's why the people that are the most successful are buying the lots with the house placement. And I kind of have an acronym for this, PAC. You would want to get the placement of the home tucked on one side of the lot, alley or corner. And the preferable thing is getting all three. The moment you get all three, you get the most desirable sort of lot, and then you can create the most amount of value. And in terms of selling it, it's like this. You know, most of the ADUs that are being sold that I have experienced are tech people, because they're like, wait, you're telling me that I can be in the most desirable neighborhood in Capitol Hill and buy a new construction 1,200 square foot home, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath for $700,000 when the average home price is 1.6? Are you kidding me? Sure, I don't have a large yard for my dog, but there's a park right there. And so, you know, the high income earners that are young professionals are just like, this is a no-brainer. $750,000 for a brand new construction in the hottest neighborhood in Seattle. Where do I sign up? So these ADUs are getting sold like crazy, and some ADUs are being sold for $1 million.
Wow.
In certain neighborhoods.
So do you foresee that, with your experience, like in Tempe, Scottsdale, downtown? Do you foresee that happening?
Yeah, I would say the number one place is downtown Phoenix.
Okay.
That, I think, because just the way that the legislation is moving and kind of their sentiment towards density, I think downtown Phoenix, there's a ton of alleys there. Yeah. It is becoming very unaffordable. The jobs that are moving there. So I see downtown Phoenix, I see Chandler, I see Tempe. Those are all areas that I have my eyes on. And so, for me, the play that I'm kind of moving towards is I want to buy properties that are on corner alleys and having large side lots, but I'm doing the Burr method. So I must be able to get all of my money back out once I refinance. So if I buy a house for $400,000, put $150 into it. Like I must get I don't know what the math is, $700,000 at least appraised value to get 100% of my money back out. And then I'll just sit on it, let it break even. I don't care. But I know that in the next year or two, just because of I'm in communication with the policy makers here, and there is positive sentiment towards moving ahead with the possibility of condominiumizing the lots. And the moment I can do that, that's when those ADUs would be worth so much more. For every dollar that you put in, you get 2 back. I mean.
So are you actively looking to buy these corner lots and stuff now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But the problem is I think getting good Burr numbers on these deals is the challenge. Yeah. It's very easy to find.
You might be at a loss or a break even or a loss right now if you were to.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, the thing is, the houses are not as old as Seattle. All of the properties that I buy are 1920s in Seattle. So forced appreciation is very easy. But all the fixer properties here are 1970s, 1980s. I'm like, there's not that much to really improve. And so, there's not that much room for me to really force appreciation. And also, in Seattle, we have basements. That is a very easy way for us to double square footage. To force appreciation. How do you do that without doing new construction here?
For your Arizona listeners, can you let them know what basements are?
Oh, yeah. Subgrade.
We don't have a lot of those. Yeah. Or attics. Being back east, or we have property in Cleveland. Yeah. It's you're renovating. You're making the basement livable. You're making the attic livable. Exactly. You got 4 floors. It's a bigger renovation.
100%. Adding, and that's the thing that adds value: bedrooms, bathroom, and square footage. And so, with basements and attics, easily do that. But
awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're actively keeping your eye on certain areas with your corner lot or PAC.
Yes.
Right? I like that.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned, so are you familiar then with the HB 2721?
Yeah.
The middle housing.
Yes.
From Center City. So do you have, what that is, Governor Hobbs in 2024 passed the bill, and it starts actually January 2026. It's a middle housing law, requires cities with 75,000 residents, once again Phoenix, Tucson, Scottsdale, to allow middle housing or single-family zoned lots within 1 mile of central business district, which probably got to figure out. I don't even think they have identified that yet. Yeah. This includes duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, and townhomes, previously often restricted to boost density. Yeah.
Basically, it's saying typically, so here's an example. In Seattle, you were only able to build an ADU on a single-family zone lot that has that's conforming.
Got it.
Because it has a single family. And I have purchased properties that are on single-family zone lots, but they are actually a non-conforming duplex because it's on a single-family zone lot. So typically, you can't add density on a duplex or a triplex, but this is basically saying, if I'm interpreting this correctly, that you can still add density even though it's got a duplex or a triplex on it, and you can do that on single-family zone lots.
Got it.
Because it's very typical that, a duplex might get, might be non-conforming.
Interesting. I'm very curious. I know it's like so new, so yeah. Can you layer ADUs onto middle housing for max density? Let's find out. We're gonna have to find out all this stuff. I'm sure they're gonna have a lot of these questions. So what's the play here? So are you interested in this, or are you still saying no? I'm looking at my corner lots and downtown. And...
Yeah, to be honest, I care a lot about location because at the end of the day, I want the most desirable neighborhood. We talk about ranking neighborhoods. A is like luxury, B is like really high desirable areas, and so where I want to purchase these properties are in B plus neighborhoods, right? Super desirable, where a lot of young professionals want to live in, and it's becoming really unaffordable. It's got a ton of amenities around, and it's like the hot place. So think of like Old Town Scottsdale, right? But I prefer that in the Phoenix area, wherever that is. And so, the play is still to be able to do this, but I don't want to build an ADU until the law allows us to separate them.
Yeah.
Because, for me, it still feels high risk for me to execute on a play that hasn't even been actualized here yet. So, but I want to position myself where I'm not losing and I'm not gaining by doing the BRRRR method and buying a fixer property, force appreciation, get all my money back out, sit on it, right? Because I'm not winning, I'm not losing, but I'm positioning myself where if I have, let's just say, 10 of these houses, the moment that the legislation allows you to do this play, then boom, I'm going to be building, condominiumizing, and then all of a sudden I just shot up the value of the entire parcel by 30-40%, of my all-in cost, and I get all my money back out. I can cash out. Because the plays that I'm doing, Michael, in Seattle, I'm getting about 35 to 55% margins on my deals.
Wow.
So one of my deals in 6 weeks, I cashed out $250,000.
Wow.
And all I did was I bought a house from a flipper that already had a converted garage. So it was already done up. All of my value add was doing the legal condo split with a surveyor and an attorney and submetering the electrical. Just by doing that in 6 weeks, my all-in cost was $760, and then it appraised for $1.25 million.
Wow.
At the end, I cashed out $250. I break even on both of them, but I cashed out $250. I went ahead and did it again, over and over again.
And are you still doing business up there right now?
Oh, I'm still.
Oh, back and forth.
A ton. Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Wow. So, all right. So, have you thought about doing options or seller carryback? Like if you got a corner lot out here. And we don't know if the policy is ever going to come or will or what. We don't know. Like doing options. Say, hey, I'll buy this property from you in 5 years at X amount.
It's so funny. An attorney told me about this, and my mind was blown. But I've heard of it. I don't know too much about it, but I understand the concept of you get first right of refusal, or you essentially get to purchase that property at a set time.
Yeah, so an option. So if you guys ever look it up, right? I'll probably chop this up, but Walt Disney, he purchased Disney World. So he was in California. He didn't want everyone to know he's going to go out there and build this amazing theme park in Florida. So he hired a sales team in Kentucky to make calls from Kentucky to the swamplands in Florida.
Wow.
And they needed to get all their acreage, like thousands of acres, right? So what they did is they called all the owners and did option contracts.
Wow.
So seller must sell, buyer doesn't have to buy, right? Legal binding contracts, you got to give some consideration.
Right.
Yes, I will pay you X on this date. So once he got those thousands of 80,000 acres or whatever it was, all locked in, they executed like dominoes. Boom. Then it was like the next day, whatever, because all the land shot up like 80%, 90, whatever, 10x, 90x, whatever the numbers are. That's a cool little story, but that's what I'm saying, we're talking about path of progress. You're paying attention to legislation like you are. You're really into it. It's like, hey, it's on its way at some level.
Yeah.
Should I just go use these creative real estate strategies to leverage? Or what does Rockefeller say? Own nothing, control everything.
Everything. I love that, yeah.
So you're controlling with these strategies that we have.
I love that. See, this is why everybody should be going to Michael and all of his events, because wow, that's just incredible.
Well, hey, to throw it in there, March 14th and 15th.
March 14th and 15th.
We do have a Creative Finance Academy training for 2 days here at the AZREIA office. So,
well, you guys got to check it out. This guy's a genius.
So anyway, so when you think about that, because I know you're looking, you have your eye out, so you might as well. Another thing I'll share with you. Yeah. I personally think if you look at, if it's from Center City or Business District, I don't know officially where, I was told of Business District, it's like in so many different areas I've heard. So south of Washington, so you got north of Washington and downtown, you go up and, you go towards like the historic districts, FQ and Encanto and Zillow, or what was it? I said Zillow. All right, sorry. But if you go south, it's more industrial, the train tracks, but then it gets just this older neighborhood. It's just like you were talking about older homes. It's 1920 homes, a lot of just like more of like the adobe, and it's just a long, very old neighborhood that hasn't really been revitalized, right? So my thought is with this middle housing bill turning, being down like such in proximity of downtown, you get all these old neighborhoods, vacant lots. I could only imagine people like yourself and developers going down and building a bunch of fourplexes, ADUs. 100%. So you might want to go drive around down there. You get to see the future.
Yeah, see the future. No, I appreciate that. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, go down there. Yeah.
Cool. No, that's incredible.
All right, cool. So like winding down, any last words you want to share with everybody, or any tips, tricks, insight?
Yeah, I would just say, honestly, I think my biggest message is to look out. All the investors, all the agents, like, get yourself familiar. There's a lot of even lenders that don't understand what I do. They give me shitty LTVs because they're like, I don't see the value in what you're doing. But that's why all my business goes to 2 different lenders. And so, but they're the ones that are also getting all the ADU plays that are super low risk and, incredible deals. So I guess what I'm trying to say is for the lenders, the title agents, everybody in the real estate sphere in Arizona, keep your eyes out for this because it's going to explode. It's just a matter of time. And for those investors that are trying to figure out what the next hot new thing is, this is it. It's just a matter of time of when it's going to happen, and positioning yourself, whether it's by doing a BRRRR and sitting on it, but it's a property that you can execute and build, build ADUs in the future, or additional units. Because in California, they're kind of beyond the ADU play. You can actually build duplexes and do an urban lot split and then do a duplex again. So their play is kind of beyond that. And in Seattle now you can build up to 4 single-family homes. So that's like the evolution of beyond ADUs. So there's just an encouragement for adding density, and it's evolving so quickly. So kind of paying attention to what legislation is doing, paying attention to other investors that are in this sphere. But this is going to be the hot new thing because we have a housing problem. The United States is short 7 million homes. That's what Fannie Mae said, a couple months ago. So how are they doing this to resolve it? I mean, ADUs on smaller single-family zoned lots is one way to increase inventory to help the housing problem and the affordability problem. So, guys, if you guys want to make money, the bigger the problem you solve, the larger the payout is. So this is the space to be in, to be paying attention to, and start executing when the time happens. But invest in your knowledge first before you invest in your money, because it's going to happen soon.
Wow. So hopefully what's going to happen is, sooner than later, we're going to look back and go, the AZREIA Show with Sabrina. We said it years ago. No,
we said it years ago. Yeah, that's right. But that's why you got to watch the show. Pay attention. All the golden nuggets.
Yeah, that's so true. A lot of golden nuggets today, and I appreciate that. I'm sure the listeners appreciate it. And how do we get a hold of you and contact you or send you deals, whatever it may be?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. It's basically my first dot last name, so Sabrina.Smai, SMAI.
Cool.
And you can just feel free to send me a DM and give me a follow.
Send her deals. Say welcome to Arizona. All that good stuff.
Sure.
Another episode of the AZREIA Show. If you're newer to real estate investing, you're newer to the Arizona Real Estate Investors Association, go to azreia.org/12 steps. That's 12 steps. I wrote a 12-day email series for free of the essential steps to become a real estate investor. I'll encourage you to reply. I will personally, reply. I encourage you to reply in there. I will reply back and get to know you a little bit better. And that's a wrap for the AZREIA Show. Thank you.
Passive, really I think this massive. Stable cash flow, lavish. All the finance for the masses. This 14% in manufactured housing. Really, all the deals I be doing is kinda hard to keep on counting. Not really. 10% for the year. It's clear this the new way. Little competition in my arena. Need a house cost arena strategy.
For 10 to 14% returns. Invest today with Silvercrest Opportunity Fund.
10% passive, the checks I blind with collateral.
Thanks for listening to the AZREIA Show with your hosts, Marcus Maloney and Mike Del Prete. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you found this information valuable, head over to azreia.org and learn more about our community.